My name is Mayke Derksen. I work with the Netherlands Enterprise Agency. And my first introduction with life was in 2003. I worked in the nature conservation and development area. And I worked on the island of Tiengemeten, which is a small island in the Haringvliet of the Netherlands. And I tell my daughter every time we go there that I made this island, which is not really true, but you know, I was part of the transition of the island from agriculture to nature, thanks to life. And I first started using life as a fund, you know, because we needed money. And I did the whole application thing, you know, the 86 pages and the 22 pages of evaluation. It's just work and thinking, what a bureaucracy is this? But when we had the life funding, I came to realize that it's very, what we do in the Netherlands is very specific. And what I hear about your stories, you're making a huge transition in looking at sewage and looking at I can't say the word wastewater, but I'm not, you know, very, sorry, not dirty water, yeah, the dirty water, yes. So there's huge challenges and there's a lot of opportunities, and also within life, please use it as, it can offer you opportunities for innovative results. These are the topics of my presentation. First, I'm going to introduce my colleagues also to you. I'm going to give you the headlines of the LIFE program. Then I'm going into the topics of 2016, which are relevant for you, because there's a lot of topics in LIFE. Then I'm going to tune into the quality of proposals, and I'm going to finish with the deadlines of the LIFE goal. As I said before, I work for the Netherlands Agency, Netherlands Enterprise Agency. What we do is there's a lot of global challenges, and we want the Dutch solutions to come forward, and you know, for the Dutch to be a green, good economy in several sectors, which water is one of them. And what we offer is information and advice, for instance, on life, but also business networks that you can, so if you want a cooperation with other partners, you can use us. There's a lot of subsidies, but also bank guarantees that we process. And we also do some executive legislation on topics of sustainability. These are my colleagues that I work on live. There's 3,500 people working at the Netherlands Enterprise Agency, and there's only 4 of us that work on live. So we're a very small project within a huge company. And what we do is, our basic thing is raising awareness on live funding, on the live project. And we can advise applicants, as you are, on, you know, does it fit within the topic of the live program? And we can explain and sometimes explore as well the rules of the live program. And what we would really advise you to do is we're also there for a pre-evaluation of your concept proposal, which is really worthwhile. It's going to take us, you know, at least half a day to read it, but it will be good, because if you make a live proposal, you're probably there with your, I don't know the English word for it, but your oogkleppen op. What's the English word for it? Tunnel vision. We can help you, you know, to broaden your horizon and see some, give you advice on how to better your proposal. LIFE is the official name for it. Is l'instrument financier pour l'environnement, which is really the financial instrument for the environment. And the basic goal of LIFE is filling the gap between EU policy and realization of the EU policy. So any idea that is innovative and that has to do with the EU policy can be subsidized if innovative. It's also a very detailed funding application, but I must say with clear criteria considering other EU programs. It's, like I said before, it's 86 pages guidelines, and then there's 22 pages evaluation tips. So, but read them carefully, and then you're prepared. And mostly the people who read this very good, they make the threshold application, threshold scores for the to come into the European competition. The co-financing of LIFE can be up to 60%, which is a huge amount of money, because mostly in the projects are 1 to 3 million euros. But you're also in European competition. There's, like I said before, there's the LIFE program is broader than just, you know, the topics that are relevant for the water boards. There's nature and biodiversity, also governance and information on several topics, also forest fires, for instance. And then there's the environment and resource efficiency program, which are, you know, all the LIFE projects that I just saw now were probably in that program. And since 2014, the climate was also introduced in LIFE. There's a separate program for LIFE climate change mitigation, for adaptation, and for governance and information. And I'm going to show you some pages of the topics. I'm not going to show them all of you because there's like 7 pages of topics in this guide alone, and which is the guide for environment and resource efficiency. This is this is one of the pages of the water, floods and droughts topics, which are 7, and you probably can't read it. You can read it at home afterwards. But there's a lot of topics that are really relevant for you, not just as chemical engineers, but also as, you know, for other goals of the water boards. And also in the climate adaptation policy, there's the 2016 priorities. I know that you're, as a water board, you're also thinking about climate adaptation, and this would be a really relevant program for you, for demonstration projects, as well as for governance projects, which the European Commission is really seeking for. Then you're in European competition with your proposals, which is really relevant because you really need to get a good score on your proposal. Use the guidelines. I'm going to show you this table, which is based on the preliminary long list of 2015. So the projects are not official yet. And what you see on the left, you see the topics. You see the highest scores that projects that are funded. Then you see the 100% preliminary long list line, which is basically, you know, within the range for climate adaptation, for instance, within the range of 56 points to 87 points. Then you're in a guaranteed of funding. They also do some extra. They use a 30% boundary there. If there's projects that are falling off the list and the 100% score, then you can. The 30% list is taken. Sorry for that. I didn't know the right English word for that. So scores are very important. And if you see the difference between climate action and environment. In environment, there is a lot of competition, especially on environment and resource efficiency, but also in nature. And you see that points really count. The lowest scoring within the 30% boundary of the preliminary long list is 70 points. In the Netherlands, we didn't have any nature projects last year. Well, our scores were 70, so this is really a shame. But there's some really good competition at European level going on there. And then I want you to draw the attention to the climate change mitigation and adaptation. There's not a lot of proposals there. So the European Commission is really seeking for proposals. And if you are considering something to do, see if you can fit under that action. I'm going to go back to what they're going to look at in your proposals. The EU is focused. The guidelines didn't change from last year. So if you're familiar with the guidelines of 2015, the guidelines for 2016 are the same. The focus in 2016, there's differences. There's more emphasis on replicability. They basically want you not just, you know, a dissemination of results, but they also want you to identify the users of the future, and also make sure that those users of the future have the skills to use your project results. So they're looking for projects on that. They're looking at your proposal from that point of view. There's going to be stricter interpretation of the project topics. So make sure that you make a good review of the project topic if your project really fits within one of the topics. Otherwise, they're just going to put you off the, you know, on the wrong table. There's the EU added value. They have a mandatory live performance indicators table, which basically means they want quantifiable results. we can help you with that. There's a more stringent control on double funding if you're applying for more than one European fund. EASME is the organization that is checking all the funding, and they also from Horizon, also from you know, all the European funds. So it's probably going to be the same evaluator that is looking at your proposals. So make sure that they know that you're now applying for double funds. It's not you can do that, but it's make sure they know. Otherwise, you're going to be on the wrong table. There's going to be more attention on second phase projects, follow-ups of projects. They want to know how much different that is from the first phase and why it's really necessary to get a second phase. There's going to be more coordination on distinctiveness of proposals on national level, but also on EU level. So make sure you check if your project is really innovative and there's not a similar project somewhere in Europe. Well, transnational means within member states and not with Africa or Asia. And there's stricter rules on sole traders and affiliates. They don't want you to have 200 letters of support from professors and stuff like that. They want you to have, you know, a consortium that works. And specifically for the environment and resource efficiency program, they're really looking for close to the market projects. So not the commercial outline, but close to the markets, you know, the last step before commercialization. And they also want you to have a clear strategy for this commercial implementation, which is really, you don't have to tell the whole world about your strategy. You just have to tell the European Committee, and they can make sure that it's not, you know, it doesn't have to be public. And you're still the owner of the technology. But there, the EU is owner of the environmental benefits. So you don't have to be worried about your commercial, giving your ideas away. And they want you to have a clear strategy on replicability. And what I really want you to do, Erik Jan just said it right now, there were no successful water boards applications in the last calls. I'm not sure if this was the problem, but please be distinctive, because the program has been working since 1992, and there's a lot of projects already funded. So make sure that you know which projects, you know, if you have similar project like, check that what is your distinctiveness from the other projects that are already funded or already in progress. So check within your network if people are with the same topics, busy with the same topics. Check the national contact points, check the EU database, and also check this life and climate change. And there's also other publications. Last sheet, I think, the deadlines of the call in 2016. Make sure you do it by e-proposal if you're doing climate action before September 7th, and the other ones you can just read. Oh yeah, I think there's more to the sheet than it's showing. It's use us, because we're there, you know, we're available for reading your applications. Thank you.
Any questions upon the live applications?
Well, more or less about the last thing you said you can use us. Well, I'm from Holland, so I know the way to RVO, but is this also open to people from other countries that you might help them to connect to projects in the Netherlands, or is it just use us for the Dutch here?
It's uses for the Dutch, but also if you're from Spain, there's also national contact points in Spain. But we can also, if you're looking for a transnational cooperation, we can use our national contact point network to see if there's projects in Spain or in Italy that are similar. So it works both ways.
More questions or remarks? No, everything is clear.
Is anybody applying next year, of this year? Not yet.
Think about it. We need to demonstrate.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.